Welcome to How the Jets Can Make the Playoffs Part 2. So last time on Dragon Ball Jets, the Jets beat the Texans to stay alive for the playoff race. And they not only beat them, but they dominated them. The Jets
Embarrassed all of them.
and Zach Wilson put up Aaron Rodgers numbers. It's like Aaron Rodgers came out wearing a Zach Wilson disguise. So without further ado, let's take a look at how the Jets can stumble into the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoff?
So the first thing that needs to happen is the Jets must win out. They need to win all their games. The toughest ones being the Dolphins and the Browns. Now the Dolphins have looked great at times, but when they struggle, they absolutely struggle. In what should have been a routine win over the Titans, the Maestro Mayonnaise had different plans. Now as long as the Jets defense can rattle Tua, gain yards, not turn the ball over, put points on the board, then they stand a chance. Will the Thrill is definitely earning his.
Extra mayonnaise.
And I do believe the Jets defense can slow down or stop Joe Flacco and the Browns offense, but all of these games will depend on how well the offense can do. Now, good news is the Jets have some of the tiebreakers over some of the teams in the mix, but bad news is there is a strong chance that a lot of teams will finish 9-8 and it'll come down to tiebreakers, and we shall see from there. But sadly, too, the teams the Jets have the tiebreaker over are strong contenders to go 10-7 and become the 5th and 6th seed. Now, the Bears have been playing better. They took down their division rival in the Lions, the 3rd seed in the NFC. But I don't think they have the capability or the talent to stand up to the Browns defense. But if the Bears win, then that would help a lot in the Jets' chances of making the playoffs. Say if the Jets beat the Browns, they would have that tiebreaker over them. Now, CJ Stroud has been an absolute beast this season, but against an elite defense like the Jets, he was shut down. So just like against the Jets, I expect him to get shut down again. Plus, we need the Texans to lose 2 of their last 4 games. Now, the last game won't matter to the Jets unless the Browns lose the next 2 of their 3, in which the Browns have dominated the matchup against the Joe Burrow Bengals, but this is the Jake Browning Bengals. Jake Browning has been on fire, so we'll see what he can do. Next team I think has a strong shot of getting that 6th seed is the Broncos. The only loss I can really see here is the Lions, and with the way the Lions have been playing and the way the Broncos have been playing, it wouldn't surprise me if the Broncos won. And then the next 3 games are very winnable for the Broncos, especially without Justin Herbert. Now, with just 1 spot remaining to get into the playoffs, it is going to be an absolute dogfight. No offense to Michael Vick. And I believe the biggest threat to the Jets to be able to get to that 7th seed are the Buffalo Bills. Now, I know, it's going to pain a lot of us to root for the Cowboys, but we stand a better chance of making the playoffs if the Cowboys win. And we'd also need the Dolphins to get their act together and beat a winning team for once. Now, I do believe the Bills are better than their record shows and have just had a lot of misfortune and mishaps during the year, so it wouldn't surprise me if they beat the Cowboys or the Dolphins. And 2 games that are very winnable for the Bills are the Chargers and the Patriots. So our best chances of tying with the Bills are the Cowboys and the Dolphins. Now, I think the next biggest threat would be the Texans. Now, I don't believe anybody before the season would even predict the Texans to be in the spot, but CJ Stroud has taken the NFL by storm, having one of the best, if not the best, rookie season and being in the MVP conversation. Now, for the Jets to make the playoffs, we need the Titans to win 1, as well as the Texans to lose another. As I said earlier, I think this loss will come to the Browns, as Stroud will face another elite defense like he did with the Jets. And the Colts usually have the Texans number, but I think this is a winnable game for the Texans, as CJ Stroud played really good in his first matchup. The Texans were a lot more inexperienced and didn't have an identity early on, so I think this game is winnable for the Texans. Now I believe the next biggest threat would come from the Bengals. And the reason I did not put the Bengals over the Texans is because the Bengals are currently 0-4 in their division matchups, and that could come back to bite them at the end. Just like their mascot. Get it? Alright, well, okay. Now, I do believe the Bengals are better than the Vikings, Especially with the Pasternaut Fitz Blacktrick's magic running out, it's up to the Mullinator to step in and help the Jets out. I do think the Bengals win against the Steelers, beating the famous Kisser Mitch, and I do believe the Chiefs pull this one out against the Bengals at home, especially without Burrow. And I think out of desperation, the Bengals will beat the Browns in the final game to somewhat stay alive. Next up is the Colts. Now, I see all these games for the Colts as both winnable and losable, except for the Raiders game, as I think that one will go in the Colts win column. But hey, if the Raiders win, then, it helps the Jets, so more power to you, Raiders. So, for the sake of Jet fans, hopefully the Colts lose the next 3 out of 4 games. Now, next up is the Steelers and a famous kisser. Kisser of teas, Mitch Trubisky. Now, just like with the Jets, the Steelers are a team with a good defense that's held back by an inept offense. Through 13 games, the picket fence and the kisser has only 9 passing touchdowns. With the offense they have and the schedule that they have, playing all teams that are competing for playoff spots, then yeah, it's not a good look for Steelers. With their struggles on offense, I think they will lose the last 3 out of 4 games. Now, the Raiders are the Raiders, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. The Chargers have no defense, and Herbert is out for the season. The Titans, like the Jets, would need to win all of these games just to have a shot of making the playoffs. So chances of this happening are not likely. But here is the pathway, or a pathway. So with that being said, let's go Jets, Jets, Jets. And if you're rooting for the Jets, then comment down below Jets, Jets, Jets. Or enter your favorite team down below and tell me what you're excited about seeing from your team. Now, if you've liked this video, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Click that little bell for notifications so you'll never miss a video. And if you're on TikTok, follow me there as well at sport_tales. And also tell me what you would like to see next.